Hello, hello, this is Reverend Sydney Finn with your Covering All Your Bases reading, and the time frame that I got was in your highest good for me to read was 6 months ahead, so that is what I'm going to be reading for you today. And I got your notes and everything in the email, so we're just gonna go ahead and go over everything. I'm just going to pull these oracle cards, so if there's something that you would like to know or some information that you're looking for, go ahead and set your intention. Deep breath into the diaphragm. And since you picked the Wild Unknown deck, I figured I would do their sister animal spirit deck, because this is the same artist. So let's see what's coming up there. We have Crocodile. I like this card because it definitely reminds me of waiting, being really mindful about what you're investing in, being mindful about where your energy is going. And if there's something that you're looking to create or act on, the way the crocodile executes is it'll sit with its mouth open and wait for things to come to it. And so this is actually a highly feminine card in the approach. And so one of the things that you want to keep in mind is for this upcoming year, or I guess I should say, going into this new year, over the next 6 months, one of the things that you want to exercise is your ability to receive. So just calling things into your space rather than pushing, hunting, and pursuing, because the crocodile allows things to come to it. It doesn't go and hunt and thrash around. It waits for its prey. And so this is the same idea with whatever it is that you want. Maybe it's a new job, maybe it's money, maybe it's some other type of opportunity. And what you want to do is focus on receiving it, holding a space for it to come in. Then we have Patience. This is the same exact idea. This is a trout lily, and it's exactly what I was mentioning with the crocodile. These two cards are peas in a pod. Crocodiles are very, very patient when it comes to waiting for the things that they want to come in, and then you have literal patience popping up here. So it's just reminding you the things that you want might be taking a little bit of time. You can't always put a rush order on something that you want. Sometimes there are a few things that need to fall into place so that it comes to you in perfect timing. So trust the timing of the way things are unfolding a little bit more, and that's going to give you an edge. Then the Sovereign Oracle card for you is feedback. Ask trusted partners for input, be discerning, filter out the signal from the noise, give input in a loving manner with the intention of highest good for all. Beautiful message there. So this is going to be a good time to really be mindful of who you're inviting in and being vulnerable with and sharing things with. This isn't a good time to just ask anybody and everybody. You want to be a little bit more discerning about who it is you're involving in whatever you have going on. Now let's go ahead and dive into the base reading. I have a clarifier just in case I need to clarify anything for you. And the first thing that's coming up in the area of your identity is Mother of Wands. So this is equivalent to the Queen of Wands in a normal deck. And the interesting thing is that this is about pulling back your energy. So again, we have this archetype of divine feminine that is being infused into this whole reading. Like, that's the first thing that this is being submerged in, is watch things come to you. Make sure you're focusing on receiving, on holding space. And it's funny because this is like holding space for whatever it is you're creating, because there's a reference to eggs here in the center. And I think that's a perfect approach for you right now, is you're setting the tone. You have your intention of what you would like to unfold. And what you want to do is behave in a way that's in alignment with what you desire. Hold space for these things to make an appearance and come in. but don't be too forceful in the way that you pursue it. You can't make things happen. This is more about allowing things to happen and then building things up around whatever you desire in order for that to make its way to you. So maybe you want a new job or an opportunity. Just as an example, what you would want to do to supplement that is build a network. So that's kind of how you can reframe this for yourself, is it's not directly going for the ask, it's building things around what it is you desire to support things coming to you faster. And then making sure you really have your head in the game for these first 6 months, or these next 6 months rather, and make sure your mindset is on point. Because if you're wavering in what you think is possible, then it gets a little bit sticky. Now, your financial situation, we have the Two of Cups. This is a really nice card to have. It's like your needs are being met financially. And so it's the same principle, ask and you shall receive. That's what this is reminding you of. From a personal resources standpoint, I think that it really looks good. This is super solid. I don't think you have anything to worry about. It's all working for you in your favor. So money is, or whatever personal resources you want or need, they are either already easily coming into your space, or it's something that you can manifest for yourself. Because don't forget, money and resources are energetic. You kind of have to create the blueprint first and then watch it show up. Your communication with others, we have the Seven of Cups. You have a lot of options when it comes to communication. There's not one right thing to say. And I think that this is going to be a really great time to experiment and explore what exactly is working for you when it comes to communication. It's never a one-size-fits-all thing. So what I'm really seeing here in this card is that you might want to try a few different approaches. You might want to try being more direct. Then maybe you might want to try being a little bit more hands-off in your communication. You might want to try being proactive, like if someone is coming to you for advice but not asking for advice, ask them if they want advice or if they want you to be an ear. Just try different things. This seems to be more about intimate communication. So with the people that you care about or the people that you have close relationships with, that's where the Seven of Cups seems to be housed in this reading. It doesn't look like it has so much to do with impersonal communication. So this is, I'm actually going to clarify this one because I feel like there's a little more information for you here. The Moon. You're not going to have all the answers in the next 6 months. This is going to take some practice. It's going to take some time. I think you're still figuring out a solid communication style that feels in alignment with you and also yields good results when it comes to your relationships overall. And what I mean by that is not a manipulative yields good results. It's just that different approaches work for different people, and that's kind of what you're working through right now. There's a lot of construction happening in this area of your life, and so that's something that you kind of want to take seriously, but don't put too much pressure because a lot's going to be changing when it comes to your communication. This is going to be over the next year, not just 6 months, because this is the exploratory area, like you're exploring all the different facets. And then things become more solidified over time, but that's not going to happen in the next 6 months. It's just about dabbling. Your home life, we have the Father of Pentacles, more stability here. And this is kind of an area of resources as well, because it is the home. It's your sense of shelter and like the area where you rest your head at night. And so having such a grounded, earthy card in this position looks really good. I think that you're super stable in this area. There's not a lot else going on. It seems that this just isn't an area with a lot of action. So I'm not getting any major movement or transformation in this area in the next 6 months. I think this is going to be pretty stable for you. So there's not much happening here. And I think this is probably because we're going to see over the rest of the reading. I don't know yet because I don't know what cards are popping up, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of other areas that required more of your energy than what your home is going to require. So let's see what's going on in play and recreation. We have the Three of Wands. This is something that, similar to communication, I think you are still building, you're still constructing. It's not something that's fully together quite yet. There's a lot of bugs to work out. There's a lot of things to think about and consider. You might find that the people that you're spending time with and having fun with, enjoying playing with, if you will, is also under construction, the same way the communication piece is. So ultimately, what I would invite you to do over the next few months, and it might be a good idea to consider this as you're heading into the new year, think about what you really want to get out of leisure, recreation, and general activities that you enjoy. What do you want to see come to fruition? What experience would you like to have? What would make you feel good? What do you want to be purely for the sake of just doing it? And what do you do for fun? Like, this is the big question worth asking. And the reason being is that this is going to, over time, develop into a tool that you're using more and more and more. And so right now, I think you're kind of looking through a pinhole, like, what do I want this to evolve into? But you want to be more intentional going into the new year, because this is like, okay, you can see through to what it is that you're really desiring and what your life or this area of your life is going to look like. And so this is something that you're just trying to create more of a shape around. And I think that is going to be one of the best things that you can do for yourself over the next few months. Now, when it comes to your health, wellness, and routine, we have the Six of Wands. Moving away from anything that doesn't work for you is going to be really important. This 6-month period is more about not doing things than doing things, like adding on routines. And so this is one of those things where it's like, it would be better to have some type of intention, like stop drinking soda. This is a very superficial example, but like cutting something out like that you know might not be the best for you, rather than say, I'm going to work out 90 minutes a day. This is like less is more. I think that this is highlighting that the more space you create and the more you're able to declutter, the more intentional you can be with what you want your health, well-being, and routine to look like moving forward. But it's going to be something that you have to declutter first rather than piling on more activities. I think that's going to be too strenuous at this time, and it's probably not going to be sustainable. Again, there's something about this reading, even though I can't see the rest of it yet, that looks like there's a lot of energy being funneled somewhere. And so decluttering is more important. And then to clarify the Six of Wands, we have the Eight of Pentacles. You're going to have to give it some thought and contemplation. It's going to take some effort. You're not going to get it overnight. I think that you might actually start to see what you need to declutter over time if you don't already know. If you didn't get an intuitive hit, when I pulled this card and said it's about what you're letting go of and walking away from and decluttering, if you didn't get an immediate that's the answer, then it's probably something that you're going to recognize over the next few months and then make an amendment and adjust from there if you so choose. This is just the energy that you're working with, and it's something that you can utilize over the next 6 months. It's not finite. Now this is your relationship, romantic partnership. We have the Nine of Swords. So the interesting thing about this card is that it's very fear-based. So if you have any trauma around relationships, by trauma, I mean it could be anything like abandonment pictures, worries, fears, anxieties. I'm going to clarify this for you, don't worry. It seems like that is what's being confronted more than anything else. So the clarifier for this is Nine of Swords. Again, it's just fear. So that's the thing, is that fear is very protective. It's a mechanism that your brain is using in order to protect you, but it doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always look quite right, because it's going to be hyper vigilant and over the top with its protective nature. And so you might find, and I don't know, of course, all the details of what you have going on in your relationship, but if you have a lot of anxiety around being left, or any abandonment, any worries of being hurt or manipulated, I mean, it could be anything, right? So that's the part that either needs to be healed or soothed or parented, if you will. That's most of the time when things like this come up. It's a call for you to essentially parent your inner child, and being patient and gentle with this part of yourself that might still be spinning if there's anything relationally that you're still working through. And I want to be clear, this is very normal. Very, very normal. I don't know how long you've been in the relationship, but I see this all the time. And so it's just, at the end of the day, are you worried about things that will happen in the future, that might happen? Is that kind of, you're filling in the blank ahead of time? And now it's starting to make sense. This could be a vacuum if you're mentally going into that space over and over and over and over again. And that can be one of the things that really starts to drain you. And so this is also inviting you to figure out what other coping skills you can start to incorporate here, so that it doesn't become a vacuum and you can actually see a little bit more clearly, because the fear is going to mute everything else that you have going on. And that's something where fear is fear. It's not always reality. So just remember, just because the Nine of Swords is there doesn't mean that anything's happening. A lot of what the Nine of Swords represents is the experience you have in your mind. It's the dress rehearsing tragedy that you have in your mind that comes up in this area. It's not something that's actually based in an experience that you're having. So that's oftentimes why the fear cards pop up here. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Now, of course, I just want to throw out a disclaimer that, of course, if you're dealing with adultery, abuse, or addiction, those are totally different topics that require more significant intervention. So I just wanted to be really explicit about that. If you are dealing with anything like that, or if you're in partnership with anyone who has issues with those, that's not what this reading is for. And I just wanted to let you know that, to make that distinction. The oncoming transformation is the Hermit. So this is retreat. This is pulling back your energy, like what I have mentioned a few times with the Patience card, the Crocodile, focusing on the yin. This is a highly feminine card as well, because it's about attraction, introspection, and contemplation. And I see this as being something that you're needing to retreat into in order to sort things out for yourself. Be very careful with who you're seeking insight and advice from. It's important for you to have ownership over the crown, and there is a reference to that here with the lantern up top. This is telling me that, what I call crown chakra ownership, which is making sure that you're just being really diligent with what makes it past your crown. And the way that that kind of plays out is if something, or if someone tells you something and you immediately buy it as truth, pause before you buy it as truth. It's just one of those things that you want to allow yourself to contemplate what other people are saying for your own sake, not for anything or anyone else, just to protect yourself in this instance and make decisions for yourself, by yourself, that are in your highest good, not the highest good of someone else. So make sure you're just communicating with people who really have your back and are true supporters of you and don't have any other agendas or skin in the game, so to speak. Now, your travel and education area, we have the sun. So this actually looks really vibrant. If you're in school right now, I would say this is going to be a solid 6 months where you can give it plenty of energy. You can hustle. Same thing goes if you want to travel. I think manifesting a trip, a vacation, a weekend away would be lickety split. You could find a way to make that happen. The sun is definitely about where this seems to be where more of your energy is going. I would not be surprised if you were in school, if that happened to be the case. But if it's not, I think that there's a lot of vitality that can be found through independent study or through you kind of taking your time and just going through whatever you need to go through in order to get the information that makes you feel accomplished, rather. I think there's a lot of pride in this card where if you're out chasing information and really exploring all the different ways of thinking and nuances and insight on any topic, that is going to be really healing for you at this time. So this is an area that's worth being stimulated in the next 6 months. So focus on just pursuing interests at a cognitive and mental level, and that is going to have big payoff for you because this is a strong placement to have here. Your career, and I'm reading this as your current job. We have the Three of Cups. I think this just looks enjoyable. There's nothing super significant coming up in this area other than it looks fun. It looks like you're really enjoying yourself. So I think that you can just use that to your advantage. Maybe you have some friends that you're working with, or you've really been able to bond with some people over however long you've been working there. And I think it just looks like a fun job to have. I don't think there's, you know, aside from the normal stuff, it looks pretty good. So this also looks stable unless you wanted to manifest something different. I think this looks pretty cut and dry for now. There are other things that you can pour more of your energy into as far as whatever you want to build and create. So this kind of looks like you're just running on autopilot for the next 6 months. Again, unless you want to actively shift this in some way, shape, or form. Your community and friendships, we have the Tower. Definite change here. This looks like where there's going to be a lot of heavy lifting to do. I think that this is probably going to have the biggest impact out of anything here, is a shift in who you're spending time with and who you're who you're getting input from as well. We go back to the feedback card. Be really intentional with who you're allowing to come in from an information standpoint. And the Tower is just recommending that you really take a hard look at whether or not the people that you're spending a lot of time with on a friendship level are at the caliber that you desire at this point in your life. Because if you are growing rapidly, if you're going through a lot of changes, then you might find that a lot of the people that used to really gel with you aren't anymore. So the clarifier for that is the Page of Rods. You kind of have to explore and evaluate, similar to the communication space. The Page of Rods is really good at checking in and asking the questions, what feels good, what feels right, what feels true, what makes sense for me. And that's what you're doing over the next 6 months. You're taking a hard look at who is in your space, who makes sense in your life right now, and who doesn't. And that is absolutely worth evaluating. So it looks really solid. It's just about kind of that, whoa, that whirlwind of things are changing, things are moving quickly. I wasn't expecting that. And the Tower is just reminding you of the need to release and cleanse, and that this is a significant sign of growth. If you're evaluating your life, maybe you're really ambitious and you have career and education goals, and the people that you're surrounding yourself with don't. It's going to be very hard to have friends who don't really have any plans if you're making a lot of plans and working hard. That's the type of thing that's coming up with this little combination that you have in the area of friendship. So don't be surprised if there's some people who just don't really gel with you anymore and you need to step away from. That's an excellent sign that you're making progress, you're cleaning up your environment, and you're really spending time with people that are high quality, high caliber, and are able to match you. In the spiritual practices, we have the Son of Wands. I'm going to remind you that spiritual practice is something that can be recharging and energizing. I would advise that you take more time to do things that make you feel recharged and regrouped. And that's what this spiritual practice is able to do for you. If you have a spiritual practice that feels like a chore, like it's something that you dread or don't look forward to, then I don't think that necessarily has to be your spiritual practice. I think that if you're motivated to do something and it's fun and it fills your cup, then you're on the right track with it being a spiritual practice. It can be something as simple as taking a bath, meditation, sleeping a little bit more. Taking good care of yourself on a physical level can be a way of engaging in a spiritual practice. But remember that this is very broad. For some people, going for a run is spiritual. For other people, meditating inside a Catholic church every Sunday is spiritual and fills their cup. So this is a very personal approach, and I would recommend that you just do what makes you feel good in the realm of spirituality, whether that be horoscopes or any type of spiritual practice or activity that you enjoy. And then the final advice for you is the Ace of Swords. Think and contemplate first. There's a lot that is going to be supported by rationality over the next 6 months. This is reminding you to keep a balance between the heart and the head, not to necessarily lead with one or the other. The Ace of Swords is about consideration and looking at all the facets. Receive the information, but also think about it, marinate with it. It's like I said over here, you don't have to just automatically receive things as true. You can also take your time with them and contemplate them and consider them, but not accept them immediately. Okay, so I'm going to pull a few more cards before I wrap up, just as a little thank you. And first thing coming up, opportunity. This is why you have all these patience cards and the crocodile coming up and, you know, the evaluation and taking your time. It's because there's an opportunity on its way. But do you see how the bird is shadowed out? You can't actually tell what kind of bird that is. And so you might not be able to see what's on the horizon, but I promise you it is absolutely making its way to you right now. So whatever you want, whatever you've been manifesting or placing an order around, that's what's on its way. And then we have feeling and form. This is similar. I don't know how much you are familiar with manifesting and all of that stuff, but this is really pushing you to just think about and consider that what you feel, what you act on will evolve into real life. It's going to shift into making an appearance in the physical. So it's about all three, thought, word, and deed. thoughts are creative, words are creative, and action or deed is the most creative. And so whatever you feel into, whatever you apply your energy towards is the thing that is going to manifest and actually make an appearance in physical form. Then I'm going to pull an angel card for you. My camera accidentally cut out right there, so the angel card that I pulled for you is intention. And this is the same thing that we've been talking about a little bit with what are you asking for, what are you intending to have happen, what are you demanding, what are you asking? Like when you're applying your energy to something, what are you intending to have happen? Not from a standpoint of all you have to do is act and everything you want is going to happen, but it's about the intention and the belief system. So the thoughts that you're putting behind the actions that you're taking is in essence the intention package. Like that's what you're working with at this time. So set your intention, ask for the things that you want, ask for the things that you need, and those are the things that you're going to have welcomed into your life. All right, my friend, that is all that I have for you today. I know this is kind of a massive reading, so I certainly hope you've enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed reading for you. Don't forget, if you have any questions, if anything didn't make any sense, go ahead and email me. And until next time, have a beautiful rest of 2018. Happy New Year. Happy 2019. I wish you nothing but the best, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.